Alright, what's up, gang? If you're anything like me, then you've been a big fan of Overwatch for the past few years now, and you're also probably pissed the hell off at all the stupid changes that Blizzard is making to such an amazing franchise. I mean, at this point, this game was heavily regarded as, like, one of the best online shooters of all time, but now it just seems like every single update that these absolute idiots do to this game just digs itself into a grave more and more and more, and it's so frustrating. So I decided to make this video to talk about why I genuinely just don't even think the game is worth playing at this point. I don't play anymore. I don't think you guys should play anymore. I think it's literally just a sinking ship of a game, and Blizzard is a sinking ship of a game development studio. Now, to start things off, I think we should start off with what we were promised in Overwatch 2. You know, the things that the Overwatch 2 developers were telling us to have something to look forward to. A lot of this stuff was announced in 2019. Basically, from 2019 to when Overwatch 2 got launched on October 4th, 2022, there was almost no updates to Overwatch 1. And this is kind of understandable because, you know, COVID happened, some stuff at Blizzard happened, so it kind of makes sense why there was such a long wait, but it was still frustrating for the people who did enjoy Overwatch at that time, me included. So some things that we were promised in Overwatch 2 were some consistent fun updates, new heroes, a new game mode, a battle pass system, a fun experience that can last years and years and years after Overwatch 2 comes out, a ton of PvE content, a complete story experience, some hero missions which are highly replayable, co-op experiences. All this stuff sounded amazing, and it was so cool to hear that after like a year and a half of basically no updates to Overwatch 1, that they were finally doing something, they were finally taking control of it, and there was a lot to look forward to. And by the way, these are their words, not mine. These are things that they said in these videos. I didn't just pull that out of my ass. This stuff came straight from Blizzard. So, they announced a lot of this stuff in 2019, and then we have to wait a few years for it to actually come out. Again, kind of understandable because of what COVID did and the stuff happening at Blizzard. It makes sense why this game would be delayed longer than they thought it would be. So, October 4th comes around, and I just want to preface this by saying how excited I was for this game. Again, I've been a fan of Overwatch for probably like 2 to 3 years at this point. I've loved the game so much, and I didn't even play it whenever it was in its peak, which a lot of people would consider like 2016, 2017, and I still love the game so much. It was my favorite game, to the point where I literally wrote a paper. I wrote a paper called Everything Overwatch 2, which talked about all the things that were coming to Overwatch 2, all the interesting aspects about it, everything I was excited for, and why I truly thought that this game was going to be like the coolest game ever. And then launch came. The servers were completely unplayable. Not even to the point where, you know, you could log in and you were, you know, rubber banding, maybe you were lagging a lot. You couldn't load into the game. You couldn't. There was multiple hundreds of people in front of you in a queue, and you just had to sit there and wait and wait and wait to play the game. Not to mention, when you finally could, the servers were terrible. Now, I want you to imagine this. You're an Overwatch fan, and you've now been waiting 3 years for this awesome new Overwatch 2 game to come out that's going to bring all this PvE content, all these new game changes, all these new characters, these new maps, all this stuff. So you play your last game of Overwatch 1 before you transition to Overwatch 2, and this is what you see. They look the exact same. So, this was immediately disappointing as an Overwatch fan. Like, what have they been working on? They completely abandoned Overwatch 1 to work on Overwatch 2, but you load in and this is what you see. But what's really important about the game is how it plays and what kind of stuff is being added, not necessarily, you know, how it looks. So here's what they added in the first season of Overwatch 2. So let's start with the new game mode. They added a push game mode, which I cannot begin to describe to you how god-awful and stupid of an idea this game mode is. Basically, there's this robot in the center of the map, and the two teams fight to see who can push it further, and whoever pushes it farther from the center wins. Now, there's two outcomes of playing this game mode. One, the enemy team pushes it basically all the way towards you in the first minute or two of the round, and you spend the rest of it lollygagging and pussyfooting around, trying to get the robot back, even though your team keeps dying over and over again. By the point to where they got it as close as they did to you, the round was basically already over, and you're just spending the rest of it respawning and then dying, and then respawning and then dying. And then there's another outcome, where literally nothing happens the entire round. Everybody just goes up to the robot, it maybe gets pushed around 5 or 10 meters, and you end up up losing the round by about 5 meters every time. These are the 2 possible outcomes. Both of them include you dying and then running all the way back to the objective, the robot, and then dying again, and then repeating that cycle for like 10 minutes. It's so frustrating. But hey, you know, there's already good Overwatch game modes. There's already fun content there. We got 3 new heroes to look forward to. So let's start with Sojourn. She's literally the female character of Soldier 76. She is the female version. That's it. That's all she is. She was cool for like a month or 2 or whatever, but there's already characters that do the exact same stuff that Sojourn can do and can do it so much better. She's literally just like the definition of a mid character. But we still have 2 characters to look forward to. We have Kiriko, which is a healer character. Now, Kiriko I actually kind of liked. She basically throws these paper things at her teammates, which heals them, and she's a pretty fun character. Her ultimate basically makes this little like rectangle box where everybody gets constant heals, kind of like Lucio's ult, but a little bit different. She's a pretty good character, okay? So far we have 1 good character, and then we have Junker Queen. Now, I don't really have much to say about Junker Queen because I've literally never been bothered to play her because she looks so boring compared to the rest of the roster of Overwatch characters. There's so many other cool people I could play. I do not feel like I want to play Junker Queen. I just don't care enough to play her. Her abilities are kind of stupid, and whenever I see people play her, I just think there's other characters that look way more fun to play than her. Another change that they made in the first season of Overwatch 1 was switching it from 6v6 to 5v5. Now, on 6v6, there was 2 tanks, there was 2 damage, and 2 supports, and in 5v5, there's 1 tank, 2 damage, and 2 supports. Now, the reason this sucks, because basically the match is decided at the very beginning based on whether you get a good or bad tank or not. Because instead of there being 2 possibilities for there to be a good tank, maybe one of them's bad, but one of them's really good, so it compensates. Now, if you have a bad tank, you basically lost the round right then and there. But hey, maybe Season 1 just wasn't their thing. Let's start with Season 2. So, we get a new character. A character that you have to pay for. I cannot begin to describe how stupid this is. It is a character in a game where its slogan is everybody can be the hero, and you have to pay a premium to be able to be a hero. We also got a map which is called Shamball, which is, again, the definition of the most mid thing you could possibly imagine. It is just so boring and just blends in with all the other Overwatch maps. Like, nobody has ever loaded into a game and saw that they're playing on the Shamball map and actually been excited to do so. For the Battle Pass this season, we got a Junker Queen skin, which you can get for level 100. Now, problem with this, remember, I've never played Junker Queen. I do not care about that character. She could be removed from the game or have the greatest rework in all of Overwatch, and I wouldn't care. I probably wouldn't play her because there's cooler characters to play. But the tier 100 reward for a Battle Pass that I paid $10 for and spent months grinding to get to that point is a skin for a character I don't play, which completely ruins the point of buying a Battle Pass. Now, the problem with a game like Overwatch having a Battle Pass is that there's 38 characters in all of Overwatch. Another problem is that there's so many different cosmetics in Overwatch. There's gun charms, there's skins, there's player cards, there's victory emotes, there's sprays. I could go on. I think there's literally 11 different types of collectibles per character, and there's only 100 tiers in a Battle Pass. So whenever you look at the Battle Pass, there'll literally be maybe 1 or 2 things that you actually think are cool, and the rest of it is just a nothing sandwich. All the Overwatch devs would have to do to make a Battle Pass that's actually cool is, instead of making a cool Junker Queen skin, they could take that skin's colors and that skin's theme and rework it so that way it works on all the characters. Now, you might be thinking, Kangro, that sounds like a lot of work, and it sounds like something that they wouldn't be able to push out on a consistent basis. And you have a point there. The solution is to not make 100 tiers, maybe make that closer to 20 or 30 tiers of actual good stuff that people would want to get, and just spend their time making these skins so that way they look cool for all characters. Because there's no point for me to grind and complete the Battle Pass if the reward for doing so is an item for a character I don't play. So, alright, the launch was bad, Season 1, Season 2 were bad, but hey, we got Season 3, which trailer starts by advertising it's free to play. They're already running out of ideas. The Tier 100 skin is a Kiriko skin. Now, like I said, I like Kiriko, but not enough to spend 2 months grinding to get a skin for her when I already have other ones that look just as cool. Another thing they added this season was the ability to get credits by playing the game, because they realized having all these different microtransactions were making them less money, so they had to do something about that. Now, you might be thinking this is a good addition, and yeah, I guess if you do nothing but play Overwatch, you could probably buy a few cool skins with credits that you just get for playing the game, but any reasonable person would never in a million years be able to save up enough to actually get a character, because it is so unimaginably so. This is like rewards program slow. This is like do a survey and get 50 credits, which equals 0.5 of a cent slow. And instead of doing that, you could just go buy some Overwatch credits for only $10 and get that skin right now, which is exactly what Blizzard wants you to do. Another cardinal sin that the Season 3 launch trailer does is advertise that there's cool skins that you can buy in the shop. Guys, there's cool skins that you could spend your money on in the shop after you already bought the Battle Pass, which you don't care about. There's more stuff you can spend your money on. They also made a new map, which is called the Antarctic Peninsula. It's an alright map. It looks similar to all the other ones, which at this point all the Overwatch maps just look the exact same and have no cool features or no cool defining traits about them, but hey, I can't complain because there's a Valentine's Day event, which is a dating simulator. They put a dating simulator in Overwatch. Again, this is not my words. They literally called it a dating simulator in the ad for it. Why would anybody want to play that? They had a One Punch Man event, which I can only sum up as being the definition of stuff to throw at players so that way they'll shut up. Basically, all it is these lazy barebone skins which you have to grind to get, and if there's maybe one or two characters that you actually want the skin for, that sucks because you have to grind to get it for the other 36 characters that you don't care about. Now, there was another event which I can't pronounce, and the only thing I know about it is that there's a weapon charm in Overwatch that costs more to have virtually than it does in real life, so that pretty much sums up that event. Also, the Overwatch World Cup returns, and this is cool if you're actually serious about Overwatch, but to any normal person who plays the game, this means absolutely nothing. This literally couldn't make any difference whether or not a casual player plays the game or not. Alright, so Season 3 was rough. We got Season 4 to look forward to, guys. We got a hero and a Sigma skin. That was pretty much it. So the new hero, his name is Life Waver. I've never played him one time because I also have to pay for him, which I'm not doing. I'm not paying to have an extra hero in a game which already has over 30 heroes that I could be playing, especially when that hero is over like $10. I'm not doing that. That's the stupidest thing ever. Again, this game's whole point is that anybody could be a hero. The Sigma skin is the tier 100 for the Battle Pass, which is like the third season in a row where there's been a tier 100 skin for a character I don't care about. Again, just shorten the Battle Pass and make the skins rework for all the characters, so that way there's actually something cool in the Battle Pass for any type of player. There was also a Star Watch event where you could get a free Life Waver skin, which I'm not gonna participate in because I'm not buying Life Waver. Another thing they added in Season 4 was a community-made map. They had a limited time map, which was made by the community because they were so lazy and didn't even make their own because they were too busy making the freaking Star Watch event for a character that I'm not. There was also like a Symmetra skin and a Pride event, which all the Pride event was literally just putting up Pride flags in the maps. That was it. That was their Pride event. Oh, they also changed their profile picture on Twitter. Happy Pride Month. One thing I want to point out about the Season 4 launch trailer is they have a little clip of Tracer riding this like electric motorbike, and this could be something that's really cool. This could be something that, you know, could change all of Overwatch. They could start having more interesting abilities, because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the Overwatch ultimates and abilities kind of feel a little bit cookie cutter. Everybody kind of has an ability that does the same thing but is a little bit different for their character. Tracer having her own motorbike could be like the first of its kind and could revolutionize how characters do their abilities. But that was literally just a flashy clip for the trailer. Yeah, that doesn't exist. Guys, come on. They didn't have enough time to make a Tracer e-bike. They were too busy making the Star Watch event, which is a Lifesaver skin, which is a character I do know. For Season 5, they added mythic progression skins in the Battle Pass, something you have to buy. Did I mention that? You have to buy the Battle Pass? Again, these mythic progression skins are for select characters, so I'm gonna say it again, if you don't play those characters, this update doesn't matter to you. They also had this storyline, quote unquote, in the Battle Pass, which, again, you had to buy to unlock, and it was the laziest excuse for a story I've ever seen in my life. But don't worry, guys, they added one update that is gonna save all of Overwatch 2. They put Prop Hunt in it. I'm not kidding. They put Prop Hunt in Overwatch. Nobody has played Prop Hunt since Sky Does Minecraft on Mineplex in 2013. All these updates suck, but Overwatch finally did something good in the midst of all of this. At least something that they thought was a good idea, because they canceled the PvE.
But at the same time, development on the PvE experience really hasn't made the progress that we would have hoped. But unfortunately, the effort required to pull all of that together into a Blizzard quality experience that we can ship to you is huge. And there really is no end in sight or defined kind of end date where we can put that out into the world. With everything we've learned about what it takes to operate this game at the level that you deserve, it's clear that we can't deliver on that original vision for PvE that was shown in 2019.
And if that's not the most lazy, half-assed excuse I've ever heard, let alone something for a video game company to say, then I don't know what is. Remember all those points I made about what we were promised in Overwatch 2? A ton of PvE content, a complete story experience with hero missions that are highly replayable and co-op experiences. Does that sound familiar? Well, all that's gone. They canceled it. This raises the question, for the second time, what were they working on whenever they stopped focusing on Overwatch 1 to make Overwatch 2? They did nothing for a year and a half and generated money because they knew they could, instead of focusing on this game. So, hey, maybe they're not making the best updates they possibly could, but one cool thing about Overwatch 1 was, even when they weren't working on it, the game was still enjoyable to play. It was still a fun thing to play, unless you were trying to get serious about it, in which case, go f*** off and play like Rocket League or something. But for the casual players, it's a pretty good experience. But unfortunately, I can't say the same for Overwatch 2 in the state that it's at now. Even for a casual player, this game is so unimaginably frustrating. Whenever I was playing Overwatch 2 last night to get the footage for this, I was having such a frustrating time because I would die and then have to walk back, which takes 30 seconds because they made these maps way too big, and then I die again and do it over again just for the enemy team to get the objective, so that way I lose the match anyway, and it's literally just a running sim. That's all I can describe Overwatch 2 in this current state that it's at now, is a running sim. But to the one person who's still supporting Overwatch with the argument that they added hero progression, which they did, they added a hero progression system, I'm about to dismantle your argument. Because remember in 2019, whenever they originally started talking about Overwatch 2 and said that their hero progression system was going to be highly replayable co-op content? This one is just bragging rights, and I'm not exaggerating at all whenever I say this. Here's what you get for leveling up a character and devoting your entire time playing Overwatch to one character. Here's what you net from doing that. You can get some cool badges and a player card. That's right. You can get cosmetic items. They have no effect, and they literally don't do anything. They don't even show up. They didn't even give you like a skin. They don't even give you cool skin. It's literally just bragging rights, and I'm not asking for that much. They said that there was going to be these crazy replayable, super in-depth missions for each character. You don't need that. You could add like 10 levels, maybe throw in some of those half-ass skins from those other events nobody played, have maybe one ability for every character. That's perfect. That would be so cool. If Soldier 76 actually had an ability, if I spent my time grinding and leveling up that character, but all I get is a player card that does not matter, that looks so stupid. It's not even a cool player card. So yeah, long story short, Overwatch 2 is basically a steamy pile of dog shit.